Hello, everyone. Nice to meet you. Well, let's wait maybe 2 or 3 minutes more, in order everyone can connect and can join us right now. You can write something right now in the chat, so we can see all your questions during our webinar, and in the end we will have a 10 to 15 minutes Q&A session, and we will answer all your questions. We do like questions very much, so try to ask all you want to know. We had many registrations for our webinar, so I hope there will be more people right now. Okay, I'll write you something. Why the chat is so silent? It's a part of online communication. Okay. I think 1 minute more and we can start, yeah? Okay, I think we can start right now. So where are my slides? Okay. Hello everyone. Welcome to App Booster and Apptica's webinar on paid mobile growth. My name is Sam, and today I will tell you about how to promote iOS apps in the post-IDFA era that started with the release of iOS 14.5. Now let me introduce Danila. Talk about importance of mobile ad creatives. Hello, Danila, can you hear us?
Hi, Sam. Yes, I can hear you. Can you hear me well?
Yeah, everything's okay.
Okay, so hi, everyone. Thanks for joining. My name is Danila. I'm from Apptica, and I'd like to talk here today from the side of analytical service. At Apptica, we analyze mobile games and apps in order to provide insights on market trends. And as a part of our ad intelligence feature, we provide creative analysis, which has become more and more important. So today I'd like to focus on creative specifically and hope that this is going to be helpful. Thanks.
Yeah, sounds great. So just a few words about a Booster. We are one of the leading mobile marketing agencies in Russia, and we are working in the mobile industry for more than 8 years already. Our core competencies are increasing organic installs and acquiring paid traffic, App Store optimization, reputation management, and A/B testing of mobile apps. Well, I'll not bore you with a detailed story about us. I think you can find out everything you need on our website. So let's go. Well, in April 2021, with the release of iOS 14.5, Apple began enforcing its app tracking transparency framework, requiring apps to display standard messaging that would have users opt into information being shared about them in the form of a device level identifier, or IDFA. Simply put, starting with iOS 14.5, IDFA is hidden in the depth of settings by default. Apps can get access to IDFA only if users opt in via a pop-up at the app opening. Yes, they will have to do it each time with each new app. This means that now developers must ask for users' permission to monitor their data and use it for tracking, end-to-end analytics, retargeting. And according to the results of various surveys and studies, only 15 to 38% of users may opt in for IDFA. As the majority of users do not give permission to share their IDFAs, the new rules have sharply decreased the effectiveness of app promotion on social media platforms. Now let's take a closer look at what restrictions appeared when launching advertising campaigns after most users stopped providing their IDFA. Advertisers now have to rely on SCAD network or SCAN to measure ad campaign performance. Introduced by Apple before iOS 14.5 was ever launched, SCAN is now the main way to track key performance ad campaigns metrics for users who have selected to limit ad tracking on the select apps or across their mobile device. We will use Facebook as an example. Advertisers have to adapt to the new environment. First, conversion data on Facebook now comes in with a delay and is only available after some random period in a window of 24 to 48 hours. This is to hide the actual time of app installation. App tracking transparency framework makes the old way of traffic purchase ineffective. You have fewer opportunities for ad campaign optimization, and it is also more difficult to control your campaigns, so you can even end up in the red. Conversion data in Facebook ads account is now grouped by campaigns, not by groups and specific ads. It makes more difficult to test your creatives and optimize purchases. SCAD network aggregates data, which complicates measuring the effectiveness of specific ads. For instance, you cannot break the data down by creative, age, or gender. It is now more difficult to optimize ad campaigns for conversion actions, and this is what decreases promotion effectiveness even more. So what advertisers can do to combat this performance deterioration? We searched for answers for this question and analyzed the recommendations of various experts. Basically, there are 5 main approaches to user acquisition, but the first 4, in our opinion, are more of a compromise and in general do not allow to implement the traffic purchase with the previous efficiency. We, MetaBooster, have focused on the last strategy, the one using Webtap Flow. It allows you to configure your ad campaigns with the same flexibility as before. Webtap technology enables you to bypass the IDFA restrictions. You can promote on Facebook using the good old ways without decreasing campaign effectiveness. How it works in general. The idea is simple. A user follows an ad and is redirected not to a store page directly, but to a dedicated web landing. From there, he or she goes to the App Store and installs the app. With this, all the information about the user's behavior goes to Facebook ads account and can be used when optimizing Facebook campaigns. Now, let's have a closer look on how it works, what results to expect, and if the technology is worthwhile. Let's figure it out. A user clicks an ad and follows onto a landing page, and the data about the interactions is sent to Facebook ads. On the landing, the user clicks on CTA button, for example download, and is directed to the app page in the App Store. The landing uses custom tracking links, which allows the Facebook pixel parameters to be transferred to the backend. When the user goes to the App Store and installs the app, the product analytics systems transfer the in-app events data. These events are then matched against the Facebook pixel and Facebook click parameters from the landing, and we return the data to Facebook ads using Facebook Conversion API as a server event without delays. Facebook Conversion API is a web solution, and that is why a landing is needed. Thus, users arrive at your app in 3 clicks. First, on an ad creative, which leads to a landing. Second, on the link landing from the landing to the App Store. And third, on the Get button in the real App Store page. Adding one more step in the funnel is usually not a very good solution. Some of the target audience is going to live on it. But a landing page allows you to link the behavior of users from clicking on an ad to the action in the app into a single stream of information that can be transmitted to the advertising account. Plus, for web campaigns, unlike app install campaigns, the bidding is usually cheaper. As a result, even with the extra final step, the CPI and CPA of the web-to-app campaigns are usually lower than that of app install campaigns. How landing pages for web-to-app funnels can look like. On this slide, you can see one of the basic landing designs. It simply copies the interface of a standard App Store app page and has a Get button well known to all users. After this button is clicked, the user is directed to the App Store. But also, these can be all kinds of landing pages, from very basic containing the main USP to various quiz mechanics, onboardings, and so on. Using a web landing, you can make the user's path to the first payment shorter than it is now. You don't just make a simple landing page with one button, but transfer to the web the part of your product that is responsible for the user's first session before payment. Then, from the user's point of view, right after he clicks on the ad, he enters your app, or let's say it's web version, goes through onboarding, gets aha moments, makes a purchase decision, and only then do we transfer him to the App Store where he installs the main app. I think you got the idea. So what are the main advantages of this technology? First, it decreases costs. Since your ad campaigns are optimized for conversion events more effectively, CPI and CPA decrease. An expanded audience will reduce CPM and decrease the cost of the whole subsequent funnel. Plus, web traffic is usually cheaper than app installs. This negates the loss in conversion on the landing stage. You get an expanded reach. The approach will enable you to broaden your targeted audience and increase the possibilities for app optimization and creative testing. You can use almost all the previously available Facebook inventory. It allows you to attract organic traffic. An effective, well-designed web page can improve users' understanding of your product, encourage them to download the app, and convert free organic web traffic into active users. Web landings increase user engagement. According to AppsFlyer, the average CTR of web-to-app funnel is around 4.5%, and the conversion into installs is around 30%. Not bad. A properly configured web funnel will not decrease conversion. On the contrary, it will increase it thanks to the additional user engagement, for example, by using web onboardings, as I've said before. And last but not least, the ability to set up payments within the web funnel allows you to create payment screens without the limitations imposed by Apple and Google. If you compare the differences between advertising campaigns using web-to-app and those using scan, the benefits become even more obvious. In fact, web-to-app allows you to bypass all the major limitations of scan, and that's really great. Yes, and of course, a case study. Though the technology is relatively young, we at Booster are already using web-to-app campaigns with several clients. For one of them, it is a musical streaming service, and sorry I cannot name the client because we are working on the NDA right now. We configured both types of campaigns for their iOS app, the web-to-app campaign and the app install campaign. So we are able to get results for both campaigns in the same project and in the same period of time and compare them. The figures are on the screen. As we can see, the web-to-app approach did better. The CPI has decreased by almost 2 times, and the CPA decreased by 20%. The web-to-app campaign also resulted in 2.5 times more installs and 40% more trials. Not bad. As you understood, web-to-app technology involves the interaction of multiple platforms. Your advertising account, a landing page, MMP for mobile attribution, your application, and a special server that processes Webtap transactions. In this webinar, we won't be able to go over all the nuances of the settings, first because each combination of the advertising account and MMP is a new story. And there are also the specifics of the landing pages and the application itself. Secondly, on one of the steps, you may notice that you'll need to develop a web-to-app server. Yes, you will have to program it. If you want, you need to make a little code that receives data from MMP and landing, reformats them, and sends them to the advertising account. At first glance, it doesn't seem very difficult to write the code and make such a server, but you will spend time debugging it, and be prepared to regularly test its work, that is, assess how many events it correctly transmits to the advertising account. In addition, you will have to administer web-to-app and adjust for the frequent changes in the policies of advertising platforms, app stores, and so on. That is why you will always need to continue to involve your developers. The good news is that if you want to use web-to-app right now, but don't want to spend time and resources on development, you can use our ready-made solution, our web-to-app platform. We have built and will support a web-to-app server and give you access to it in multiple formats. First of all, you can set up everything yourself in your personal cabinet, your personal account. We only give you access to the server. And there is another variant. We do everything on a turnkey basis, including the landing pages and buy traffic for you and for your application. What is included in the web-to-app solution by a booster? As I have said before, if you would like to quickly run and test this solution for your projects, we are ready to help. In a booster, we have launched a ready-to-use platform to process web-to-app transactions. To start, you will only need to connect your landing to it and configure your Facebook ads and MMP using our detailed instructions and technical support. Everything else is already set up. All the campaigns data is accurately transferred to Facebook. At the moment, we are finalizing the development of a full-featured user's interface in which you can make all the settings yourself. However, you can already use our solution. Technically, you can do all the necessary settings together with our specialists without a self-service interface. And yes, we can configure and launch your web-to-app campaign for you if you're interested in a turnkey solution, including landing page creation and traffic purchase, and analytics will work it out. I told you about the capabilities of web-to-app technology using Facebook as an example, but the same is true for other self-attributed networks. We also plan to implement support for TikTok in the nearest future. Regarding MMP, we currently have our solution working with Apptica and AppsFlyer. Yes, there is no need to use expensive paid MMPs. You can switch to a free service such as Apptica if you want to run web-to-app campaigns and save an attribution. Apptica is okay. Now we're already working on integrating our solution with Adjust. As our customers need to support other MMPs, we plan to implement integration with other systems as well. Web-to-app is a great technology. It's not a silver bullet. It doesn't guarantee an increase in the effectiveness of buying traffic, but for many products it works and greatly improves metrics. Major companies are already active users of Web-to-app, so the answer to should I launch it right now is definitely yes. This technology is worth trying out before it becomes an industry standard and the competition intensifies. The goal of this summary was to provide an overall understanding of what a web technology is and how it works, and how it can help you to make your paid user acquisition and social media as effective as it was earlier. But if you have already set up Web-to-app yourself in your projects, feel free to share your cases. It's very interesting. Let's discuss those together. Well, thank you for your attention. Now let's move on to our next speaker. Danila, you're welcome. I'll give the word to you.
Hi, thank you. That is a great presentation. A lot of details on the new flow of this funnel. So yeah, thank you. Give me just 1 second. I will turn on my presentation and we'll start.
Yeah, sure. We're waiting for you.
Oh, yeah. Here we go. All right. Thanks again. Hi, everybody. And I'm really glad that I can talk today about the role of ad creatives in this not easy times when everything actually reconstructs. So let's start. As Sam already mentioned, that this since April, Apple significantly complicated the life of ad developers. And I believe all who's watching us right now already suffered from what happened. But despite this fact, we still need this detailed understanding of our target audience. And because that's the place where the most successful campaign starts. So we believe that in order to do that, marketeers need to refocus on creative testing and optimization to basically align their creatives with audience and therefore understand deeply their preferences, especially when there are news about Google, which intends, to follow the same path, but a little differently. So creatives now are even more powerful tool than it used to be. So basically what's I'm going to talk today. So today I'd really like to focus on this and discuss creative trends we've seen throughout 2021 and features of creatives made for different networks. Since TikTok is one of the best networks adapted for iOS changes, we are going to take a closer look on it and see what advertisers do to stay on top. In addition, I'm going to talk about basically what makes a great creative and reveal our forecast for 2022 creative trends. So, well, I hope these insights will really help you to improve your creative performance in the future. And well, let's begin and take a look at the few examples of creative trends. So the first one, and one of the most important trends we've noticed is their relatability. As people are really tend to react more when humans are presented, developers starts to adding them characters in their videos and fill it with a straight storyline, basically showing situations where that will resonate with the audience and among the users. They're not random anymore. Now they're someone players empathize and actually able to root for. On these creatives, you can see the two characters like boss and the girlfriend. They have simple stories that we can actually understand without even sound on, and it makes people really follow the story. So they click and they install the game. Okay, so let's move on to the second trend here. The second one, what we've seen in 2021 is so-called, I bet you can do it better format. There's like more challenges in 2021. You've asked for it and you get it. So this video creative shows that the other players copies with the game really badly. So you think you can do it better. This trick has always been loved by the production teams, but in the last 12 months, they've started using it way more frequently. And you can actually identify these creatives by encouraging phrases like, no one can solve this problem, or I bet you can do it better, like fail, try again, and so on, many others. So when I saw the first creative, so this one, when I first saw it, I had a feeling which I basically can describe like, oh, come on, just take the blue one and put it to the left. Just do it already. And just it was so irritating that immediately started this impulse to desire to fix it. And there has been plenty of this kind of hooks this year. So, and we think they're not really actually tend to stop. So the third one here is more sophisticated advertising. Yeah, creatives for casual mid-core games are still mainly focused on gameplay, but in 2021 they tend to contain more than just a demonstration of the game mechanics. We definitely see the trend towards the more serious attitude to this visual and semantic parts. And take a look at this creatives, right? Considering that the visuals, they are really like high quality and they must cost a lot in production. So we guess that studios, which can afford that, they now do this to prioritize massive appeal so they can reach a cross section of the potential users and wider the reach. So next one, and basically the last one of the main trend we've seen this year, is inclusiveness and tolerance. Well, obviously, in the last few years, more and more companies have concentrated on making their ad creatives more inclusive and less offensive for certain groups of people. This is not, spreads only kindness, but also increases the respect for the developer. Yeah, first example right here is basically explanatory. But if we talk about the second one, I think it needs some clarification. As you can tell, this weight loss app creative would basically switch focus from words like fat or weight loss to phrases like tone, straighten, and sculpt, which now actually makes, I'd say, a lot of difference. Yeah, that is true. So it's more like, towards the future trend. And that's about it. We talked about 4 trends of 2021 we've noticed. And now I'd like to discuss, actually the differences in ad networks, which also we took a look at it and just to figure out how advertisers feed their creatives in different networks. Well, from the first side, all the creatives are similar, right? One half of them shows the gameplay, and another half presents the features of the various applications. However, the deeper we go, the more differences we start to notice, right? Even when creatives from one studio in different networks may look completely the opposite. And we analyze 5 large networks at Colony, Vangal, Applavin, Mopop, and TikTok to show you which formats will work for them, will work maybe best in each of this network. And this, of course, based on our opinion. So let's go for at Colony and see what trend do we notice. Yeah, we've noticed that creatives at Colony tend to be more colorful. They really try to copy some internet trends like popular music, popular characters, and stuff like that. They're money-oriented creatives, which means that play and earn points, like a lot of cash into the creatives. So if you try to make your creatives for this network, try to use these trends at first and see the results. We really hope that it's going to help you out. When we go to Vango, these creatives are more like they have more so-called life in it, and they're more engaging because of the more better storytelling, interesting facts, in videos and live action basically. And there's also a lot of challenges which we've talked about previously, like I bet you can do it better for me, stuff like that. Yeah. So let's move on to the next one. In uploading, the creatives there actually quite similar to the Vango, but however, uploading creatives tend to be more sophisticated, like in terms of the storytelling, serious attitude to the visuals and semantic parts of each ad, and there's orientation toward interactions with the audience. As you can see, these creatives are really high quality. They really speaks to the audience. It's just like something we've noticed on uploading. And when we go for the next one, which is Mopop, they're also, the creatives more colorful and simple. Most of them doesn't look like there's a lot of effort has been put into this. And plus, most of them show only mechanics, which you can see right there on the second creatives of the game, of the pub. It's interesting to see how really pub as an advertiser, differentiates, how they make their creatives look really different from network to network. Yep, so here we can switch to the next one, like TikTok. And here, actually on iOS, TikTok shows really impressive results and provide one of the best solutions for in, like post on the IDFA era. And so I'd like to talk a bit more about that here. So since summer 2020, TikTok has grown by 45%, right? And in September this year, it has surpassed the mark of 1 billion monthly active users. That is why it become a quite promising network for app and game advertising. This year, a lot of new advertisers have come to this platform, and obviously, the more, there's more to go. Actually, what kind of formats do they have there in TikTok? So we've just talked on how networks are a bit different from each other. There are some trends in there, but TikTok went like way beyond that, right? And yeah, if you try to set up like TikTok ad campaigns already, you probably know that approaches which works on Facebook, they really don't work in TikTok. And that's because the audience prefers, like very peculiar ways of interaction with advertising. So if you look at the successful formats, here's what we recommend, right? Don't try to impress. And I'm pretty sure you've heard this, slogan like, don't make ads, make TikToks, right? And ads aren't supposed to look like a traditional advertising because it steps out of the context and irritates users. So it makes them want to skip. Say like no to beautiful motion videos and say yes to like UGC, right? Since the audience likes non-standard advertising interaction, try to make it as native as possible. The second one is, use trends. It's obvious, but still this is one of the, most useful advices we can give you. Try to use some humorous, popular music, acting, which has been spread along the network. And the third one here is sophisticated creatives, which might, seem a little different, even a little weird, because I've just said a bunch of things regarding how to make your creative simple and trendy. But if you really have this idea and you believe that this will resonate with your target audience, you have to test it no matter the odds. There are some sophisticated creatives with high quality videos and well thought out detailed plots for animation like this one right here we've seen. So try it, these are the advices we give you for the formats in TikTok. And basically, who are the advertisers and who actually chooses this formats we've just talked about? We see that, we've noticed that the most presented categories in TikTok are games, for sure, especially like casual action and role play, as well as this entertainment and lifestyle apps. And on the second place, there goes shopping, utilities and social network categories. So these are the apps and games which are spread more across the TikTok network. After analyzing the most shared creative from all networks, we have come up with this basically simple formula which you can create a successful creative. This formula consists of two components, optimal length and the secret ingredients, which we are going to talk about now, right? So the lengths of the vast majority of mobile app advertising creatives in TikTok is about 10 to 15 seconds. But, there's the minimum length of 5 seconds and the maximum is like 60 seconds. But in the last couple of months of 2021, the number of videos that last more than 30 seconds began to grow. Usually, as an idea that 10 to 15 seconds feels like pretty comfortable. But yeah, we've seen that there's longer creatives right now there on TikTok, and they're basically usually produced by game developers because they need more time to particularly show the plots and the mechanics of the game. And when girl, I love it when we do it till you on So when we talk about, the secret ingredients, basically what I mean, right? When when creating a video, the production team basically needs to focus on trends, right? Since TikTok not only reacts on them quickly, but also creates them itself, right? So as practice shows, the use of viral music, popular stories, and creation of creatives in the TikTok format is the win-win option. Also, TikTok users get used to quickly switching from one video to another one and filtering out uninteresting content. So the creative should attract user attention from the first seconds. And last but not least, the content itself must meet the standards of today's society. So the content should not be really like offensive at any point. So there's a lot of group of people. You really need to keep that in mind. And that's actually about it. And our today's research is based on data from our platform, right? Apptica. Well, namely from our creative gallery. And this idea of the platform you have is that you have analytical service where it facilitates the task of the UA managers. What you can do with this, without any third parties, you can identify trends and you can see, what actually, if your competitors already starts to using those. And it can help you to boost your creative production by not just, trying each mechanics or each idea one by one in your creative production funnel when you just, hope to get this one top performer. But when you analyze and do the market research, you can see which mechanics really tend to be on top of your competitors creatives. So you can test this mechanics and this visuals at first, and this will help you to actually to save time and money on creative testing. So this means that you use marketing budgets more efficiently, and you get more users with lower CPIs, and that's going to help you out really much. And so let me move to the next one here and show you that basically how app analytic tools help you as a game or app developer. So if you have already started working on app creatives, right? You just you pick these ideas where you may have it from different services, or just watching Instagram for the new ideas, right? So you don't need to do that because you can go straight to your creative gallery and you can filter out there, set up your filters, narrow your search, and get the ideas from your competitors or the interesting games and apps, and get inspired by all what you've seen. Like there are new ideas which you haven't seen would work, but they do, and they are on top of your competitors. Also, like you can check for the global trends, which are, for example, if I believe that probably a lot of people who's watching us right now has the worldwide audience, and with the like games or apps which can be used anywhere. So it's really important to get this global trends and get on top. And so basically, this is if you do that already, if you do the app creatives, the user acquisition, so you can basically polish it and increase your chances of finding the best creatives in your campaign. Also, if you don't do this, you can go to the services like ours and actually evaluate the market, to see what ideas are out there already and if they work well. So if you want to get, if you want to get a game, or if you want to make a game or an app, just at first, to make like this decision data-driven, you can analyze the market with such service and then realize, do you really need to do this or not? Yeah. And after you get really inspired, you can get the idea, cover this with the scenarios, share with your production team, and then test it all out on different networks. and see if that really boosted your performance. And yeah, so let me get to our last topic here, which is our trends. And in our opinion, the key to the success of ad creatives in 2022 is actually a flawless quality. The studio should work more carefully on creatives, especially for TikTok, of course, a network with 1 billion active users and the very not very clear terms of how to get the best out of it in order to to withstand growing competition. The era of simple gameplay creatives is slowly coming to an end. So next year, the creatives will show more life, so-called, as I mentioned before, and they will be more sophisticated in terms of get this, wider reach of the audience and get the maybe some new ones coming. So they will include animation, storytelling, live action, or other components that will hold the user's attention more strongly. And actually, more and more studios are betting on inclusiveness and tolerance, even in advertising creatives. So in the following years, production teams will ensure that their products is not offensive, right, to certain groups of people. It doesn't contain any provocative scenes or like other elements that may be perceived negatively. And actually, also the another thing could be that a switch in platforms where advertisers test their creatives. As TikTok managed to adjust for the modern marketing circumstances, more and more advertisers could turn towards this network to perform soft launch and basically all their campaigns in order to get more clear details, as they cannot do this now on iOS. So yeah, that's about it. I just want to really specify here that this speech is not about do this and you're going to be like successful. There is an audience for and context for each creatives. And I just summarized here what we've noticed in order to help you to get some insights for the future, which you can apply maybe tomorrow and see if this really gonna help you out. I really hope that this is gonna happen. And actually, if there are any questions you'd like to ask me or discuss more on this topic, I'll be glad to chat. Yep. So yeah, I can move back to Sam.
Okay. Thank you, Danila. Well, I have a question right now.
Yeah, sure.
Well, from this presentation, it's clear that I can buy access to Apptica and see mobile creative trends. Okay, but why do I need this if there is a Facebook library and I can do the same, but for free? Yeah.
Yeah, that's that's a question that I hear a lot, actually. But the point here is, first of all, I mentioned 5 networks, aside from Facebook in this presentation, but we track like 25. Yeah, in total, we track 25 different ad networks. So there's much more wider data on the platform. And if you just run the campaigns on Facebook, you probably better use just Facebook ads and Facebook library, and that will be enough. But if you want to scale, yeah, you need to understand which ideas, as we mentioned today, that the networks are actually different. So you need to understand which creatives work best for the different ad networks. And plus, in Facebook ads, you don't really have any metrics that can provide which creative work better or worse. But we try to eliminate that, and we provide you with the one method which is called impression rates, which shows you which of the advertising creatives actually which are shown more. So we know that there are some gaps in this logic, but which indirectly shows you that the span for these creatives is more. So meaning that these creatives perform actually better than the others. So yeah, we try to give you some extra information here. Did I actually make my point?
I understand. Yeah, sounds reasonable. Yeah, thank you.
Mm-hmm.
Okay, Daniel. So let's Yeah.
Yeah, actually, I didn't have time to ask you something about it, but yeah, I'd like to ask you about your presentation
Yeah, sure.
if
Why
we
not?
have time. Yeah, so you described in details, the consequences of Apple decision to implement like ATT on iOS 14.5 and redirects, the advertisers' access to IDFA. But what about the second platform? Because I hear a lot of news that Google is going to follow the same path, but not really in particular. So is Google going to do the same thing or something similar?
Oh, yeah. Yeah, yeah. That's a good question, Danila. Well, these are no rumors anymore. And earlier this year, Google announced that in Android 12, the Android advertising ID will be zeroed out for all users who have opt out of ads personalization on their device. So what is zeroed out?
Mhm.
So the string will contain only zeros. So you will now cannot get
All right,
the
we're going to have fun.
yeah. But yeah, in comparison to the situation with IDFA and iOS restrictions, there are, we believe that there is a way to make deterministic attribution because there is a so-called Google Play install referrer. It's a standard and reliable method to attribute conversions. So
Uh-huh.
we will wait and look a bit more for how situation continues because Android 12 was released in October, not long ago, and as you know, Android devices are not centrally updated to the last version of operation system. So there is some time gap before they receive Android 12 updates. And by the way, anyway, we have already tested Webtap funnels on Android apps and Android campaigns on Facebook, and everything works just fine. So we are ready, and the technology is already tested. I think everything will be okay.
Okay, that's great to know.
Yeah. So let's maybe look at our chart, and maybe there are some questions from our attendants. Yeah, there was a question about MMP abbreviation. Yeah, thank you guys. You did my work here. Yes, it's Yaroslav. Yes, it's just attribution system like apply, just, branch, and all of these guys. How much cost? What is the cost of your solution? Several asks. Yeah, it's a good question. Usually at webinars, some guys write me an email, and I'll answer you directly. Well, and I will not hide these numbers from you. I think we have rather transparent and clear price. So what we, as you remember, we can offer you a self-service where you can administer and run your campaigns by yourself. So the initial cost of connection to the self-service is $1,280. This includes access to the service for 3 months, setting up a web funnel, debugging, performance check, and test run from the side of our company and our tech team, and connection of 5 landings. So you must do these landings by yourself. We only provide one landing that copies the current App Store page of your application. It can be used for testing, but it can also be used for running campaigns. The other landings you will develop by yourself. So that's it. Any additional month will, after 3 months will pass, will cost you $99. That's all. Speaking about the second format, the second variant of working with our platform, as we call it, a turnkey solution, the price is calculated individually because it also consists of developing custom landings for you, and the landings can be very different, as I've told you. Turnkey solution also includes running and media buying campaign for you. So that is why it also includes the price of the traffic, the agency commissions, and so on, so on. So it must be discussed individually, but it is also possible if you want to use it. What about universal app campaign tracking? You mean universal ad campaign in Google, yeah? Yeah, it's a good question. I'll pass it to our tech team because right now we did not use Google as a traffic source for web-to-app funnels, but it's a good question. Maybe we can figure it out. We try to build a solution for self-attributed networks. Yes, primarily social media networks like Facebook and TikTok. What is the difference? Oh yeah, Danila, I think this question from Victoria is for you.
Mm-hmm. Yep. Which one? Sorry.
Look in the chat. Yeah, the last one. What is the difference between your service and Sensor Tower? Yeah.
Oh, well, actually, that's pretty much it, the question. All right. Another good question here, because probably, well, Sensor Tower has been on the market longer, almost since the beginning of the app stores. We're a bit younger, and we try to make, what they've done, but in more like easy way and easiest, user experience. Plus, well, I gotta say that we track less numbers of ad networks, that's for sure. And but basically, our difference is they more focused on market analytics because we do not, we provide some information about downloads and revenue as well. We do have some information on trends and stuff like that, but our main priority here is the advertising, and which I think for Sensor Tower is more on the market intelligence. That could be, I hope that's enough, because it's really hard to give you like a couple of words, the whole comparison between the services. But main directions are: we are younger, we try to simplify the interface, so the users could get this what they need just in a couple of clicks. But at the same time, we do have some, we have lesser data than have the Sensor Tower. Yeah, that's about it, Sam.
Okay, thank you. Oh yeah, Vsevolod asks you the same question that he addressed me earlier about the price of your platform. Can you
our platform. Yeah. Well, we have, that's actually a tricky question, but let me, it depends. We have the standard prices, but it strongly depends on the features which you need from the platform. I gotta give you like that, the prices for the basics, and they are for if you need just an ad intelligence, right? That would be $10K in dollars for a year subscription. If you need access to all the platform, all the features, that will be $13K for a year subscription in dollars. That's about it.
Okay. Maybe you can, what are the most favorite subscription plans of your, that usually selected by customers?
Yeah, well, actually, this is the question which really hard to answer because we have different types of clients. So some, like a small studios, they perform the market research somehow themselves, and they just need the tool to track the creatives, and we provide them with that intelligence. If these are like bigger studios, so they need all, and they get like the whole package with the market intelligence, ad intelligence, and the features to compare applications and games. So
Yeah,
yeah, it's actually, that's about it.
I understand. So maybe, if you will describe your tasks better and tell Danilo
Yeah, let me know,
what you
and
really
we
need.
can
Yeah,
discuss.
I think the guys can explain you in more detail the price policy.
Yeah, are there any other questions?
Right now, no questions in the chat, so maybe some we will
Mm-hmm.
receive some later. I have one more question to you. So, you mentioned
No, okay.
a lot about TikTok, Danilo, but if I need to set up the campaign, which geos work best for it? It's a common question from everyone who tries this source of traffic, who launches TikTok
Mm-hmm.
ads for the first time.
Yeah, we didn't take the countries to this presentation, but yeah, that's actually that makes sense. So the advertising in TikTok is actually it finds the greatest response in USA for sure. Well, there's also like Singapore, Spain, Italy, Germany. They're like on the second place, and also Japan there with the Great Britain as well. And like there's France going in the third place, depending on what we see from our platform. In the fall of like 2021, the geography has partially shifted, with like to the east because there's like TikTok creatives has become more perceived in Indonesia, like in Thailand, in South Korea, in Malaysia. So Asian countries has become more like popular, I would say, but still, yeah. And yeah, did I make it? Did
Yeah,
I answer your
I
question?
think it was pretty clear. Yeah, thank you.
Okay. Okay, great. So actually, if there are no more questions, that I can ask one for
Okay,
sure.
sure.
Maybe they're just a shy audience, and I can, shoot one.
Yeah, go on.
So yeah, basically looking, there was like a lot of diagrams in your presentation, and you showed like, when I took a look at one, I realized that like in order to for web to app to work correctly, right? They well, let me just. You need to set up actually data transfers, right, between several different systems like MMPs and landing pages, all the stuff. So, are you sure that there will be no data loss? And like maybe some, the events from app to which the campaigns will be optimized, will be successfully actually transferred from one end to another.
Mhm. Yeah, good question. Accuracy is surely very important here in this solution, and of course, it doesn't help anyone if it doesn't transfer data correctly. And we have to admit that a small percentage of losses is inevitable if we are talking about such a technically complex system with lots of integrations. When we were developing our web server and the whole solution and tested the first campaigns with our clients and with our test applications, we evaluated how many events it correctly transmits to the advertising accounts. Now we achieved accuracy of more than 25% of events from the application that successfully reaches Facebook ads account and displays in its analytics. This provides sufficient precision for optimization algorithm, and I think it's not bad. We believe that we can bring the accuracy of analytics to such a level when working with other advertising platforms as well. As I've said, we are planning to run our web to app funnels on TikTok later. So yes, accuracy is a thing that you must consider. Yeah, sure.
Okay, that was pretty much it.
Okay, thank you. So I think as I see no more questions in the chat in our chat and YouTube. So if everything is clear, it's okay. If you have some answers, you have our contacts on the screens, so you will see them record the webinar later. And of course, you can contact directly me and Danila. We will be happy to answer all your questions. Don't be shy, don't hesitate. There are no questions that we cannot listen to and try to answer.
Thanks, everybody. That was really great to talk here about some paid user acquisition, and I really hope that what we just told you about will help you to improve your app or game performance in the future.
Does Webtap users have high LTV? That's a good question. Well, I think that it's not correctly to name them Webtap users. These are the same users that you previously got from, say, Facebook or other source, but they were attracted by another technology. So I think the LTV of a user mostly depend on product itself, but I think we just restore the optimization algorithm of Facebook to the previous levels of efficiency. So you can optimize it on the events. You can target audience more correctly. That is why I think it can be compared to what you had previously. But it's a good question. We can talk about it later. Yeah. maybe we can estimate these users as some separate audience. Let me think about it. Thank you. Okay, thank you, Danila. Thanks everyone who was online today during our webinar. Thank you that you decided to spend this hour with us and try to figure out and to understand this important and complex topics. This shows that you are surely the active marketers, experts, user acquisition specialists, and we are glad to share our knowledge, our information with such an audience. Thank you, guys, and bye-bye.
Thank you, everybody. Bye-bye. Bye.